All right, everybody. Looks like we've got a few folks that have joined us. Actually, we've got quite a few folks. You're a popular guy today, Mr. Michael.
Well, thank you. Nice to be
Ready
here.
Were you ready to get started? Well,
nice to be here wherever we are.
All right. All right. Welcome, everybody, to another Lptv OTT Wednesday webinar. And I'm Lee Miller, the Executive Director of the ATBA. And Lee is winging it today because, as you can probably tell, I am in the car because the entire office complex has lost electricity. The entire region here in Texas has lost electricity for some reason.
Good grief.
Yeah, we're kind of having those electrical issues that we've had since the big freeze, but I'm not sure what the deal is. We lost power last night also during the middle of the night, but anyway, we're going to wing it. And we have one of our friends, ATBA board member, and a board member and vice president of the National Translator Association, Mr. Michael Couzens, with us today. And they've got an event coming up that we're going to talk about. But first, Michael, if you can take a few minutes and introduce yourself, what in the world you do out there in sunny California, and a little bit of your background.
Okay, well, very briefly, I'm a communications attorney. I graduated from the law school at Berkeley, so I have some ties around this area. I went to Washington, D.C. for 10 years, and I was the head of the Low Power Television Task Force at the Commission, on the Commission staff that developed the rules for Lptv. Now, that was a long time ago. And I finally decided to get back to California, and I've been doing a sole practice in communications law here in Oakland, California, which may be a strange place to do it, but I've been doing it for so long, people know how to find me. And majority of the clients, but not all, are in the Pacific Coast. And I've been involved with the Translator Association for, well, just about forever, since the Lptv initiative came along. That ties me into other people that are concerned about service to rural areas, and that's a paramount focus that I have to deal with underserved rural areas for TV, for high-speed internet, and the others that are so serious in rural areas. Well, you're not in a big town yourself, Lee, so you know what that's about.
Definitely, I'm definitely in a rural community. Speaking of rural, you guys have an event as National Translator Association coming up. We're fortunate enough to begin to get back to live events, and we're very, very excited that the National Translator Association has one of the first fully live events coming up on the calendar at the end of the month. And wanted to let our audience know that this event is coming up. And if you'll go ahead and give me some details about the convention.
Sure. We thought about this for a long time, and about a month ago, we made the decision to jump in and go ahead and have a live conference. The hotel was very supportive. It's the Hilton Hotel in downtown Salt Lake City. And they have some good protocols for making sure that people in the conference are properly spaced in the banquet areas, in the meeting areas. They do some kind of a deep hospital level cleaning of every room before you check in. And they expect people in the hotel to wear masks at all times. So we felt pretty confident about that. And since we made that decision, I guess about a month ago, things have gotten so much better. Things have loosened up basically around the country. The Translator Association has what you call a peripatetic conference. It's not in the same city every year. We've been to Spokane, we've been to Reno, Albuquerque, Denver, and Salt Lake, and and a few others, Elko, Nevada. And in our experience, it's been true that wherever we locate the conference, a majority of the attendees are people who can get there by car. A lot of our members just do not want to get on an airplane, and that's fine. So Salt Lake is a great location to attract from about 6 or 7 different states that are heavy with translators. And actually, we had the conference there 2 years ago, and it worked out fine. So we're back at Salt Lake doing it again this year, and I think it's going to be excellent. The conference is
definitely great location, and I was there last time. It was at Salt Lake City, and things worked out very, very well. And continue on. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh no, that's okay. You interrupt anytime you want to. So the dates are May 21st, Friday, and May 22nd, Saturday. And then we have a wrap up and a Sunday brunch or something. But we've also added a component for low power television in the afternoon of Thursday, the 20th. And that will run from 2 to 5 with workshops tailored to address issues in the practicalities of Lptv, the regulation of Lptv. What is the difference between a translator and an Lptv, and how do you make the transition from one to the other? All that sort of thing. So that is, if you register for the conference itself, that Lptv add-on Thursday afternoon is a freebie. It's not being offered separately. And this conference is, well, I think it's really reasonable. It's the members fee for this conference is $395, and the non-member fee is $495. But I mean, you'd have to be almost crazy to take to pay the $495, because you can become a member for only $200, get the newsletter and all the benefits. So that would clearly be the way to go if you're interested.
Yeah, you definitely don't have to have a translator to be a member. Many of us in the Lptv world are members of the NTA. We do a lot of the same things. Same transmission stack a lot of the times. Lots of good information. Really excited about the Thursday, and you've got some good folks lined up that everybody will recognize, and a lot of new information coming out in regards to how you make money in the Lptv world. That's what I'm reading anyway. But all of you out there in the Lptv world, this is something you ought to pay attention to, and become another thing to add to your schedule that you should be a must attend.
We've a lot of the translator operators have 4, 5, 6 channels of transmitters stacked up in one place. And if that's your situation, you're rebroadcasting from a major city and you have 4 or 5 channel service, I think it's a good business model to go ahead and introduce Lptv and look around on one channel, and then look around, see what kind of services you can get on that one originating channel. And that may actually help to support all the other channels. So that's one business plan that I think can make a lot of sense.
Well, I know translators were primarily designed, especially with mountains in mind, and obviously, as you said, most of the people that have attended NTA in the past were within driving distance, because most of our mountains in the U.S. Are located in the western part of the United States. But Salt Lake City is also a pretty easy place to fly in if you're coming from the East Coast or other parts of the country, correct?
Oh, it is, yeah. Actually, for historical reasons, the East Coast is mountainous too, of course, and cable TV, then known as community antenna TV, really got going in Pennsylvania and other places like that have the same problems with mountainous terrain, and the translators became established in the West. So they were different solutions to the same problem, that that the signals would not do too well if they had to climb over a mountain.
Right. And population density is a lot different too. You've got a few more square miles out west than a lot of folks deal with on the East Coast as well. Correct?
We have had members back east, or well, Minnesota, for example, which is very flat. We've had members up there. Hubbard Broadcasting was always a supporter of the NTA because it had translators down in New Mexico. So that's kind of an interesting sideline. So what we've done as far as the FCC staff, the FCC staff right now are not authorized to travel. And oddly enough, I don't think they're authorized to go to their office. The FCC has opened a new office at 45 L Street Northeast, which is due north of the Capitol. And most of the staff have never seen the place. In fact, I'm told that the only people that really go in there are people that have to go look at secure documents that are in a special room or something. Otherwise, they don't let anyone in the building to put pencils on their desk or do anything. And there is a travel ban in effect now. So we are going to have Hossein Hashimzadeh as a live person at the meeting, as he has been for many years now, but he's metamorphosed from staff to being a consultant at the FCC. And
so he's not officially under the thumb.
Yeah, well, they say, oh, he can't speak for the commission. Well, he never could speak for the commission. Even the bureau chiefs don't speak for the commission. But he can tell you the ins and outs of how to get an application or STA done, or what you should do if you didn't know that you were supposed to renew your license, all kinds of things. So he's going to be there in person. And then we've got 3 FCC staff who are going to Zoom into the meeting. And that would be Jean Cadu, who has been charged with developing their high-speed internet initiatives now. And she was at our meeting 2 years ago talking about the auction system, or she was heavily involved in orchestrating the FCC's auctions.
Right.
So we'll look forward to having her there. Mark Columbo, who's you may know him as the
he's the rabbit ear guy.
Rabbit Ears Info guy. He built that website in his spare time. He's an amazing engineer. He was in the Office of Engineering Technology. He's moved over to the Media Bureau, and maybe, if I miss my guess, he will be the next Hossein Hashimzadeh. He's already doing a lot of work in that area. And then we've got Martin Doxkett, who's high up in the Office of Engineering Technology, a branch chief who will be able to address all the spectrum issues, because we have a lot of critical spectrum issues going on right now with the satellite services, with white spaces. At times it feels like all the spectrum that we have is under assault from different quarters. Land mobile radio has become lately more aggressive in wanting free reign in the UHF bands and complaining about interference cases. So
Right.
we'll have Martin to address those issues, and then Rob Gates is the audio guy for people who, we don't have very many members involved in FM translators, but Rob is on top of whatever initiatives are happening there. It's certainly of interest that the commission has announced they're going to have a non-commercial educational FM application window in November. So some people are ramping up for that to try to get new stations going or applications going. I expect to be involved in that window, encouraging people to apply if there's any place to do so. The spectrum has gotten more and more crowded, so that if you really want to pursue a non-commercial educational FM, you're going to have to. The chances in the top, say the top 30 to 40 markets are almost gone unless you can find a little bank shot to go into a community from a mountainside. But it's worth a try, and it's worth investigating. There's plenty of time until the November window if anyone's interested in pursuing the FM opportunity. So those are the staff that we've got lined up. And I should say, thanks to John Terrell, our president, he came up with a short and sweet URL for the organization. So if you want to know about the conference, you want to know what we're doing, nta.tv. Now, how hard can it be? Have you got a pencil?
That's pretty easy. I think we can all remember that. nta.tv.
Yeah. So
although if you're really old school, you can still go nationaltranslatorsassociation.com, right?
If you do that, you'll end up in the same place. Yeah.
But nta.tv.
Definitely doing it the hard way, huh?
Yeah. That's very easy. I've got the link saved, so I just click it. So
sure.
But you guys also, you have a newsletter, and Susan sends out notices quite a bit relevant to translator, but most of the time her newsletters are relative to Lptv as well. So anyway, another plug to join the organization, Mike.
That's another reason to go hog wild and get the membership rate by joining up as a member. That's right. And we've got Susan has moved to Louisiana and is still deeply involved in the organization, but she has a good partner in Denver, Debbie Benefield, who has now largely become the editor of the newsletter, doing a really good job, and now is handling a lot of the organizing tasks to make sure that the convention is going to go smoothly. And anyone who's been to our meetings before would remember Debbie from being at the front table where the registration was. Right.
All right. Well, I see a comment from Heidi Stafford from Titan TV saying that Titan TV, and she will be there. So
great.
That's good. That's great to hear from Heidi.
She's been there in the past, and we'd love to have her. Yeah. Yeah, we've got some, I think we may have 8 or 9 or 10 exhibitors signed up. I haven't talked to Debbie about that recently, but
speaking of exhibitors, we do have some folks on our call today that have businesses that might need to be a sponsor or an exhibitor. And is that still open?
Sure.
Okay, so you do have exhibit space available, and I think it's a lot cheaper than the other conventions around to put your wares out in front of folks. But those opportunities are available, and I think Debbie's got a pretty easy email address too. Correct? I think it's like Debbie@debbiebenefield.com, right?
I don't know about that address.
Well,
if you go to
just go to nta.tv, you'll find it, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you'll find her with no problem at all. Yeah. And there's much more description of the convention than I can cover right now in the links that are up there on the website. So yes.
All right. Well, I want to go ahead, Michael, and open it up for questions. I said we would only keep you 30 minutes today, and we'll try to hold to that. So if anybody has any questions about the convention, about the National Translator Association, or if you've got your most pressing communication legal question, we've got an attorney on the line here. Maybe we put up the nickel box so they can put a nickel in the box for answering the question.
That works.
But anyway, we do appreciate Michael Couzens. He's been a great friend to Lptv for a cajillion years. It's hard to look. I consider myself young in the business, but I got involved in low power television and in its infancy also in the 80s. So when low power television was birthed. So it's hard to believe it's been around that many years, and to see that it has come to the point that it is today, with us having the opportunity to go to ATSC 3.0. And I think we just had in our newsletter this past week about the Alabama group, PBS group, getting their stations all microwaved up to be able to accept ATSC 3.0 throughout their entire network of Lptv and full power stations. So,
Lee, I'm really glad that you mentioned 3.0, because on Saturday afternoon, we're going to have a couple of hours with Doug Lung, who's a super engineer, does most of NBC's engineering work, and Joel Wilhite, specifically addressing 3.0 and how you get there and how it works and all of that. So that's a big part of our meeting.
Yeah, Joel knows more today than I could ever learn in a lifetime. I think that guy's just super smart. And matter of fact, I think I've learned more from him at NTA than any of the other events I've had him at, including this webinar. But Joel is always an incredible resource, and an incredible resource on the stack and the equipment and the way of going about things, especially now in the new ATSC 3.0 world. So definitely a very, very good session. You know, you may get off the
really
hook
excited
light
to have
today,
him again,
Michael.
too.
We don't seem to have
What's
many
that?
questions popping up.
Okay.
So you may get off easy today.
All right. Well, this is very, very good, and I hope we're going to see folks. The NAB has been put off until something like November, and one of the reasons that we thought it would be good to jump in here is that talking to vendors, exhibitors, equipment manufacturers, they said, well, we're chomping at the bit to get out there and, you know, meet people and who knows, write orders, perhaps. And this staying at home all the time it's not congenial with the habits of a salesperson. Let's put it that way. So they were really happy to hear about the meeting coming up, and we'll try to make it worthwhile for everybody that way. I've heard a lot of people have said that they get more out of our meeting than they do at the NAB, and that's certainly understandable for me, because I can go there for 4 days and wander around kind of in a daze and wonder why I'm there almost, but because it's so big. And it'll be a lot smaller this year, but it will still be big, I'm sure. Yes,
and to wrap up, speaking of that, we do plan our reception at NAB on October the 11th. If you want to go ahead and mark that on your calendar as well, at Las Vegas. We have some space reserved, and you did not get off, Michael. A question just popped up, and this one comes from Joe. I have a question relating to Psip requirements for ATSC 1.0 Lptv. We've heard differing opinions. What are the facts?
Whether you're required to have a Psip, you certainly are. And there's no mechanism for changing it if it's wrong, or if it's out of date, or if you need to add one. So I think that the secret password for getting a Psip fixed is Hossein Hashemzadeh. I think that's still true.
And let's clarify that as dynamic Psip.
Okay. I think a lot of them are out there incorrect, don't you? Haven't you seen that? So,
I've definitely seen that, and a lot of mixed information. We've had a couple of sessions on Psip, and definitely Hussein can answer that question. And maybe that's a good session to, now that he is officially a consultant, I could probably get him on this webinar, and we'll see if we can have him on.
no, that's an idea. Yeah.
So, the official FCC folks can't really do this very easily. So now that he is just a consultant, he's a very interesting guy to speak with. But Joe said many thanks. So
yeah, it raises the broader question of how things get messed up with the new filing system in LMS, and that's a lot more than we could take on today, but I'm sure we'll be talking about that at the meeting.
right. All right. Well, I don't see any other questions in the queue. So Michael, I appreciate you joining us for our quick Wednesday webinar. We'll be back in 2 weeks for our next edition. If you've got some ideas of who you'd like to join us on our Wednesday webinar, and just let us know at info@broadcastingalliance.org, or just reply back to, I think everybody that's on this webinar got an email from us in regards to that. So be sure and join the ATBA also, and go out there and join the NTA as well. And we look forward to seeing everybody, and seeing everybody in 2 weeks, and at the NTA convention coming up. And that is the 21st, correct, Michael?
2020, yes, the Lptv session on the 20th, and then the 21st and the 20th, or excuse me, the 21st, and then the 22nd, and the 21st and 22nd are the main meeting, and the 20th will be the Lptv session that's tacked on at the beginning.
Okay.
Thursday.
So
Yeah.
fly into Salt Lake City Thursday morning, and stay for the weekend, and that'll take care of it. So till next time, we'll say goodbye for Michael Couzens, Lee Miller.
Okay, thank you, Lee. Good job.
Thank you.